Welcome back to more Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Last time, we made it through Forgo Park, so this time, we're taking a break from the isolated isles and are instead going to try out the Colosseum once again. So by clearing the main story, another tier of the Colosseum is unlocked. The previous one basically goes up to the halfway point of our adventure, so let's see how this goes. You should enter the Colosseum battles. I want to watch you test your skills. Welcome to the Colosseum. If you're here to enter a tournament, you came to the right spot. The Ultimate Cup is now available at the Colosseum. Challenging battles with ferocious bosses await you. Okay, you're officially entered in the Ultimate Cup. It's about to get intense in there. I can't wait. So this is more like a traditional arena. The previous one was only like half of an arena, but this extends to the full set of bosses that we've seen so far. Not counting the phantom ones in the isolated isles. More on that later. Our choices are Sword and Tornado, and our first boss appears to be Caroline, who we just actually fought, so this should be a piece of cake. Kirby has entered the arena and the crowd has entered hype mode. So I'm actually going to be playing fairly recklessly here, partly because we actually have a ton of Maximum Tomatoes in case we lose health. Frankly, the arena in this game is actually pretty generous with health restores, so far at least. Again, more on that later. Though to be fair, if you've played a Kirby game in the last 15 years, well 14 years technically, you'll know what I'm referring to. Hang on to something, folks. Kirby's foe is about to go all out. Watch out, Kirby. So yeah, we're using Meta Knight's sword, which will be ironic once we get to the Meta Knight fight. It's also weird having Meta Knight not be a story boss, instead of just being relegated to the arena. Alright, so we have to dodge again. I just realized I didn't go over to the cafe and buy another item. We'll be fine, but it just dawned on me I never actually got a replacement tomato. Our next fight appears to be against Wild Edge and Florina. Oh Kirby, victory is within your grasp. So it's worth mentioning that these fights are basically random. Like the order of these initial fights is kind of random, so we don't entirely know what we're going to, who we'll be fighting at first. I think the final fights are predetermined though, which is traditional for Kirby arenas, to yeah, have predetermined final fights, but the ones before then are like random. Well, that didn't take long. Next up is Silly Dillo. Things are heating up. What amazing moves will Kirby show us next? Truth be told, I almost feel like Silly Dillo is my least favorite boss to fight, because between my first playthrough and this Let's Play, I have fought this boss so many times. One of the downsides of recording a full Let's Play immediately after doing a personal playthrough, that was also 100%. On to round 2. Overall, this fight's not bad. It's just like, when you're trying to go for the damage list constantly, and then you have to play this, yeah, multiple times to get the damage list achievement twice in a row, yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world. It is a very good fight, though. As slightly sick of it as I am, it is a very good fight. In general, I feel like this game actually has really strong bosses, and frankly, having such robust dodge and guarding systems really help these bosses to shine. This battle's about to get way more intense, keep those eyes aimed at the arena, folks. Yeah, when you have like way more advanced guarding and yeah, like slow-mo dodging, it almost feels like they kind of went all out with the bosses, and I am really happy about that. Kirby games, to be fair, usually have pretty crazy boss fights. Like I remember one of the post-game fights in Star Allies is just completely absurd with how intense it gets. Alright, so let's charge up a sword attack and deal a ton of damage. One more cycle should be enough, but we have to basically dodge in the meantime. I also feel like this fight has the inherent problem of being a little bit slower, like Claraline. There are extensive phases in this fight where you just have to wait and dodge attacks. While with like Tropic Woods, for example, you can definitely play a lot more aggressively, not have to wait for a specific like cycle for the boss, if that makes sense. So yeah, not one of my favorite bosses, but still pretty good. And speaking of Tropic Woods, it looks like he's up next. Kirby's martial might has everyone mesmerized. What will he do next? Immediately get hit by an attack, apparently. So, I definitely am playing way more recklessly than I should be because I am below half health. Hang on to something, folks. Kirby's foe is about to go all out. Watch out, Kirby. By the way, it's worth mentioning that in addition to bringing a Maxim Tomato into the fight, which is a little bit overpowered if you ask me, because that gives you a full heal, you also have the ability to buy items. So you can buy the double health, and you can also buy like the attack up. 200 seconds per attack up gives you a total of 1,000 seconds if you stack 5 of them, which means, doing the math, that's like a lot of time. I don't think I can do math right now, but yeah, either way, it's a lot of time to have like doubled attack. Alright, 8 more to go. I think actually this is Meta Knight, so I am actually going to use a Maxim Tomato to be on the safe side. Kirby may never be stopped. What is the secret to his colossal strength? I think I talked about this, but there is a special sword clash animation in the Meta Knight fight. I would love to show it off, but I don't think I can. Basically, he'll do a charge-up dash attack, and then if you manage to land a sword swipe right as he's about to perform the attack, you will, like, clash swords. And it looks really cool, and also has an Easter egg, so I'd love to show it, but I am not promising anything because this fight may not cooperate. Like, he isn't even doing the attack once. But yeah, it's one of those that's very telegraphed, but it's just a matter of, like, waiting for the right... There it is. So now we can actually take his sword. And from what I gather, even if you don't have Meta Knight's sword unlocked, you will get Meta Knight's sword by that. And he's actually swapped swords, so this sword is actually apparently from Kirby's Adventure, because he didn't actually have the Galaxia in that game, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a straight-edged sword. This battle's about to get way more intense. Keep those eyes aimed at the arena, folks. I also don't remember if Galaxia is the name of the sword in the game, or if that's like just an anime thing. Clearly my knowledge of Kirby lore isn't super solid. Yeah, I can't remember what the sword's name was, if that is actually consistent between the two. And that's what happens if you miss the counter timing. You just get completely comboed. Alright, so yeah, this is a good, that was a good choice healing, clearly. Again, Meta Knight does not mess around, and again, I don't have fire, which is my usual preferred method of doing this fight. So with sword, it's not going super well. Also, I wanted to show off the attack, so I kind of dilly-dallied for a bit. But we'll be able to get through this. He's just going through a lot of swords today, I guess. Okay, so we only will switch to one other type of sword. That's interesting. I was kind of curious what would happen. Alright, so that definitely could have gone better, but I am glad to have gotten to show off the Easter egg. Gormondo. I will probably stick with sword, to be honest. I'm not really sure how drill or tornado would do against this fight. To be fair, though, these aren't bad abilities. It's just I don't know how to fight most bosses with these abilities. So many dazzling moves. What amazing skill will Kirby show us next? Also, I really glossed over it because I literally picked one up. But if you use a Maximum Tomato, it will be replaced with a regular tomato, which isn't a full heal, but hey, it's not too bad if you just need a little bit of health back, which we kind of did after the Meta Knight fight. Hang on to something, folks. Kirby's throw is about to go all out. Watch out, Kirby. Most bosses have like an invulnerable phase, actually, now that I think about it. Meta Knight with the rocks, Gormondo with this tornado spin, Clarline with the knife throwing, Tropic Woods with like the gates. Tropic Woods probably has the least vulnerability, actually. Six more to go, and next up is DDD. I'm a little bit torn, because on one hand, fire is good, but on the other hand, I've been probably using fire more than I should. So I'm kind of hesitating, even though it's good, and to be fair, it's not like Meta Knight's sword also isn't a little bit overpowered. So yeah, I'm torn about how to go about this. Like, you know, both are good options, it's just, I kind of like both. Fire would be more of a surefire, a surefire success, but almost feels a little cheap at this point, I guess is my concern. I say this, but we'll get to that later. At some point, I won't worry about that as much. So yeah, I think I'll try with sword. This battle's heating up and the crowd is going wild. Also, we could swap over to DDD's hammer if we wanted to. By the way, DDD's themes in this game are great. To be fair, DDD's themes are almost always good in these games, but I feel like both remixes are actually pretty solid. This one isn't as good because it's like the first fight with DDD, but the second fight, the theme goes in directions that I think rival some of the better DDD themes in the series. That's saying a lot, because again, DDD usually has good themes. Alright, so we're starting out with this. Kirby's offense has made his opponent desperate. Things are about to get tough. It's actually really easy to get that first counter. This one's harder because you actually have to run the full length of the stage to actually deal damage. That was a really good fight, other than getting hit by the sliding attack, which again, I don't really know how to dodge without, you know, guarding and actually dodging, like for that one achievement. How long can Kirby keep up this victory streak? The crowd is hyped to find out. Well, so far so good. Wild Frosty, and we're already halfway done with this fight. To be fair, the mid-bosses are always pretty easy. I feel like they have like half health because you have to fight two of them. but again, they do have like brief invulnerability as they're spawning in, and when they're entering their second phase, but in this case, like, we're dealing a ton of damage even during their invincibility. So, wild bonkers, and we're already done. Things are looking rough for Kirby. Is this the end, or can the Puffball turn it around? Four fights left. Yeah, I want to heal. I mean, look, we have 4 fights left and we have 5 tomatoes. We might as well use one. And next up is Forgo D2D. You just can't take your eyes off him, folks. Don't even blink or you'll miss the action. Truth be told, I usually fight DD with fire. Which again is part of the reason why I was like, maybe I should not use fire for this and actually try to do this fight with something different. Again, not that Meta Knight's sword is anything to sneeze at, but yeah, the lack of constant damage definitely makes this a little tougher. So yeah, D&D does have 2 health bars, so even though this is draining pretty fast, we still have another phase to go through entirely. Hang on to something, folks. Kirby's foe is about to go all out. Watch out, Kirby. One other downside of not having fire is not being able to deal damage as DD's running around. We actually didn't see too many of DD's attacks, I'm pretty sure. We only fought this fight once, because we didn't actually have to do it twice, thank goodness, again. Otherwise, I'd have to sit through, like, the full cutscenes and skip everything just to get to Lab Discovera, just to basically exit out. So again, this is, like, one of the worst fights to actually have to do more than once. But yeah, this is how you dodge the fire attack. You just kind of make a wide circle around. Again, it's not that hard. He can also tilt the entire arena. I hope he actually does it, because I don't think we saw that in the original fight. Yeah, he does have an attack that can tilt the arena. Is it this fight, or is this something else? I might be confusing this, actually. Well, in any case, we're almost done here. I'm actually just kind of giving him a little time. I don't think I've ever seen this attack before. Again, normally I get through this fight so quickly that I actually am not entirely familiar with everything D&D can do. And with that, we have Leongar next. Do I want to switch to fire for our final 3 fights? I think I do. I don't think I fought this with anything other than fire, so let's play it safe. The crowd can't contain this excitement. I can't even contain my own. Go, Kirby. Actually, I just realized on a technicality, I've done this fight with sword. But it was technically not this fight, and it was technically not sword, and that will make sense later. Yeah, that is a very confusing statement, I realize, but it will make sense as we make our way through the Isolated Isles. Anyway, Leongar, again, we've seen this fight once. Again, we only had to play it once because there are no missions. This battle's about to get way more intense, folks. Keep those eyes aimed at the arena. For some reason, with that line, I always want to say folks after the first sentence, not after the second, even though it is after the second. But yeah, there's this biting attack that's actually really annoying to deal with. Just dodge to the best of your ability, deal damage when you can. Like so. In general, this fight isn't that bad. I was really worried when I first did this because I actually got really destroyed. But I feel like I've kind of figured it out by now, but even then, sometimes it gives me a little bit of trouble. Again, fire definitely helps because you can just continually deal damage, even if you can't directly attack in some cases. And we're almost done here. Next up is Fecto Forgo, I think was the name of the boss. What a weird boss for a Kirby game. Again, it's a boss that I think is pretty cool. Also, we got coins. But again, just not something I would have thought of that would be in a Kirby game. Crowd's cheers for Kirby are echoing off every wall in the arena. I mean, this is a very narrow corridor, so I guess there would be a lot of echo. But again, this is just like a really weirdly messed up boss fight, especially for Kirby of all things. To be fair, Kirby usually has kind of messed up bosses, but I guess this one almost feels the most overt, if that makes sense, in terms of just going really in a direction that no other Kirby game has gone before. You know, usually Kirby games go for like vengeful deities, while this is more like, almost more like scientific, kind of, since we're in a lab and everything. So yeah, very different tone. Again, it reminds me a little bit of Planet Robobot in terms of just being a very different tone than most Kirby games, in terms of having more like a sci-fi aesthetic than like, you know, nature and fantasy. And the final battle is with Alphalus once more. Sword and Needle. No thanks on Needle for this fight. Sword is tempting, actually. I did fight this with Sword originally, I'm pretty sure. And it went pretty well. But let's stick with Fire. Let's try Sword and see how this goes. Finally, the last battle. Which warrior will the goddess of victory smile upon today? Hopefully us. I'm not entirely confident, especially because I don't have a stored item. So I might actually play this a little safe. Also, we don't have a timer for the final fight, which I actually like, because that kind of means your final time is a mystery. You can talk to Waddle Dee, Wise Waddle Dee, for some stats on the arena. Like, he will track, like, best times, and some of the best times are wild with some of the upgrade abilities. Like, you know, this boss defeated in, like, 6 seconds. It's like, that makes sense, but also, wow, that's fast. So far so good, we're almost to half health, and we have way more than half health. I need to not get complacent though, and definitely play it a little bit safer than I'm currently playing. I feel like my biggest problem right now is I'm playing this fight like I have an additional heal, except I don't have an additional heal, so I definitely need to actually play it a lot safer. Dodge that, deal damage. I'm not even worrying about charge attacks, this is pretty powerful. By the way, you only have sword beams at full health, kind of like, you know, a Zelda game almost. So yeah, we don't have sword beams, which makes this part a little bit harder because we have to, like, manually run over and find the right Alphalus, which we did not. So he'll actually recover a fair amount of health, sadly. Again, if you can drain all of that blue bar, you'll deal a lot of damage. So it is unfortunate we weren't able to get that, but oh well. I'm gonna have this would be in co-op, if that'd make it easier. I actually don't know if health scales to multiple players. I know that was a thing in Star Allies, I want to say, where if you were playing with multiple people, the enemies would have more health. So I actually don't know if that would make it easier or harder. Also, I actually feel like, in a weird way, this is the most, like, fun arena I've actually played in a long time, partly because you have more grounded abilities. Like, you know, in Superstar, you have, like, Plasma that just kind of shreds bosses. In some games you have Stone that makes you invincible. This almost feels like one of the more earned arena fights, even though these abilities are still very good. Almost there. One more cycle and we should be able to finish this fight and win the Ultimate Cup. Again, if you played a Kirby game in the last 14 years, you'll know that it's not that simple, obviously. But hey, this went pretty well. Wow, our beloved pink puffball's last fighter standing. Kirby wins. A clear time of 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Not bad, especially because I wasn't even using fire, my main ability, in this game, at this point in the game at least, for a large portion of that. If we were using a better ability, why not later, we could definitely get a lower time, but overall not bad. We didn't even go through all the maximum tomatoes, and we didn't even have a stored heal, or use any items. We didn't use, any of the extra stuff from the Wildy item shop. So again, not a bad run. Congratulations on a stunning victory, Kirby. Here's your hard-won reward. We got 1,500 star coins. You got a rare stone. You got a special figure. Ultimate life form, Fecto Elphilus. The Elflin we first met was born from a small, compassionate soul that hid behind greater invasive ambitions. Without a soul to temper its power, the creature's spatial teleportation ability ran amok, opening mysterious vortices left and right. Now that they're whole again, they're already planning their next invasion. I do like the character of Elflin, because again, everyone just saw this cute little critter and thought they're evil, because Marx and Magalore. I mean, that's only two Kirby villains. I have a long history of Kirby villains that actually end up being, like, really evil in the end. But still, people were very suspicious of Elflin, and I feel like Elflin being, like, the good half of an evil being. Technically, Elflin was still the final boss, but it was kind of a unique way to go about that. Yeah, in general, I do like Elflin. I do feel like he's a little underdeveloped just because he gets kidnapped partway through the adventure, and thus doesn't contribute. Again, this goes into a problem I've already talked about quite a bit, where in general, I wish there was more time spent on developing the lore before basically you meet Liangar and he just tells you everything. Like, again, I think Planet Robobot still has the best lore implementation because I feel like with the plot of Robobot, it is revealed a lot more gradually and not dropped like all at once. I should buy an item. Welcome, what can I get ya? Maximum tomato, got it. That'll be 100 star coins. Would you like to eat this here or take it to go? Thanks. You'll hold your to-go order as a stock item. When you need a pick-me-up, hold down X. Hey Kirby, I got a special order for you. Ding, order up, it's the special figure. I want you to have it. Thanks for being such a great customer. Cafe staff Waddle Dee. The short order cook loves to feed his fellow Waddle Dees at the cafe in town. He even kept them fed after they crashed in the new world. His cooking smelled so good, which is how the Beast Pack found them. Now that the cafe has been rebuilt, it's time to get to work. And with that, I think we're ready to return to the Isolated Isles and search for more pieces of Leon's soul. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Kirby and the Forgotten Land.